I'm sure you are all very familiar at this point with Herschel Walker, who is running for Senate in Georgia against Raphael Warnock. And recently there was a sort of scandal where he made a remark about how, this is the context, this isn't the scandal, but he made a remark about how a problem in the Black community is fathers aren't staying with their kids, and they absolutely need to do that, and it's a really big problem. And I mean, we can have a discussion. Of course, we want to encourage people to stay with their kids, absolutely, but that's not really what this is about. It's more a hypocrisy angle. And so just to refresh your memory, let's look at a couple of those moments.
The fatherless home is a major, major problem. Even if you have to leave that woman, you don't leave the child.
Right.
You let that child know, you try to work it out. You're going to be respectful to her. If you're going to be respectful to other things, you show that to your child. Herschel Walker, who was born in Wrightsville, Georgia. I took care of a lot of people in my hometown. I took care of a lot of the places around where I grew up. I was being like a father to some of those kids that may have had fathers.
So generally, I have no problem, as I said, with people encouraging, men to stay in their families and all those things. Of course, that's absolutely what fathers should do. But one of the ways the Republicans specifically get out of answering for any real policy prescriptions they have for the country in regard to these really big problems, sometimes that are more specific to certain communities, is by making it an individual issue. And so instead of proposing large actions that the government could take, or actions that we should, as a political body, invest in time or energy, money, instead, it's all about that guy, that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. It's just they made bad decisions, which on an individual basis, if that person was my friend, yeah, I'd give them that advice. Hey, stay with your kids, right? But on a societal basis, these big problems that he's trying to address in answering whatever question he was answering is something we have to address on a societal basis. Big trends, big issues that we see broadly in our country aren't going to be solved by someone just saying a bunch of rhetoric and people are going to hear stay with your kids and now all of a sudden all these problems are going to be solved. No. If you see broad societal problems, we're going to have broad societal solutions. And those have to be policies that we can implement using our political power. And so Republicans do a really good job of getting out of answering for, hey, what's some policies that you would propose to invest in these communities, uplift them? Instead, they make it's just some bad dudes. That's the core of all these problems. But you and I understand, specifically since he was referring to them, the Black community, the way that we solve any problems that we recognize are unique to that community is not just by finger wagging, right? Again, you have a friend, you want to give them that advice, awesome. Or even you want to encourage society broadly, stay with your kids, love your kids. Of course you should do that. But that's not the solution to all of these problems we have that we need to address. And to put a cherry on top of all of it, Herschel Walker's son is very outspoken. He's a conservative. And he put out a video supporting his dad's message that was a little bit cringy.
Fathers, it would be great if you stayed home and raised your kids instead of ran off to bang a bunch of women who weren't your baby mama. Stay home and raise your freaking kids. Your kids need a father. Get back home. Get back home. If you take out your thing and you get a woman pregnant, guess what? The party days are over. The acting foolish days are over. You go get a freaking job and you support your new family. Get home. Raise your...
So very in your face. So that's kind of all the context to the story that we're talking about today. That would mean a lot, maybe more, at least, coming from someone who's living the principles that they're espousing, who is loving and supporting their kids, all of their kids. But after these statements made by Herschel Walker, it came out that he had 3 children with 3 separate women who were not previously disclosed to the public, which for someone as famous as him, to have kept them unknown for that long, that's not an accident. And there is no way he was active in their lives in the way that he's saying other people should be, or there would be some public record of that. Some public record for someone as famous as him. So you would think that would upset, that type of hypocrisy, that type of not living your family values would upset evangelical people, right? That's what they claim to care about. No, I'm sure y'all guessed that. Herschel Walker received resounding applause from evangelical Christian activists on Saturday following revelations he had fathered 3 children he had not previously discussed publicly. The half-full room of conference goers at the Faith and Freedom Coalition's annual gathering in Nashville went wild for Walker, perhaps the most high-profile Republican Senate candidate this cycle running in one of the most contested races. Even though it is really clear by now that Republicans don't really care about having politicians who live the principles they claim to hold, it still fascinates me every single time when this, blatant examples of hypocrisy come out and they don't care at all. A very clear example of this is Trump. Evangelical Republicans claimed to care about family values, and that's what justified them being super judgmental towards all of these groups who didn't live the way that they wanted them to live, i.e. the LGBTQ community. But then Trump comes along, has a very anti-evangelical past, if you want to say it that way. And they don't care at all. It's wild. And I think this is honestly one of the reasons that they are still as successful as they are, because they'll take anybody. As long as you'll say their talking points, spread their message, act the way that they want you to act, you're in. It's not about consistency. It's not authenticity. It's power. If you can take power and use it towards their ends, the ends they actually care about, then you're a part of the club. And the funny thing is, comparing that to the left is pitiful. Because the left, if you step on a bug, you're out. So we could take a little bit of a lesson from them and be a little bit more tolerant of people with not perfect pasts. But generally, I like where we stand. I'll be following Herschel Walker's race with Raphael Warnock that has been very fascinating so far, but I'll be watching it each step of the way and covering it on my own show. You can find that at Luke Beasley on YouTube, or if you're listening to this as a podcast, you can search Luke Beasley on any podcast listening platform to listen to it. We'll be back with much more.
I'm really excited that one of our sponsors today is Helix Sleep. I sleep on a Helix mattress at home. I absolutely love it. And that's why I reached out to them about sponsoring the David Pakman Show. Buying a mattress in the past was always a huge guessing game for me. I didn't know what I actually needed. I didn't know what I would like. But Helix has a sleep quiz on their website. You tell them your body type, your sleeping position, your back pain issues you might have, and their tool matched me with a mattress that is perfect for me. It's cool enough at night. It's the right firmness. I generally just do way better sleeping these days because of the mattress. Helix was awarded #1 best overall mattress for the last 2 years by both GQ and Wired Magazine. It is well-deserved, I can tell you firsthand. Every Helix mattress comes with a 10-year warranty. You can try the mattress risk-free for 100 nights, and they will even come pick it up at your house if you don't love it, but I know you will. For a limited time, Helix is offering up to $350 off all mattress orders, plus 2 free pillows at helixsleep.com/Pakman. It's the biggest discount they've ever offered. The link is down below.